you very much. And oddly enough, I do want everybody to stand up if you could, right away. Everybody stand up. Perfect. Thank you so much. So right now, I want you to look around at all of the people in the room, and you represent the entire population of North America. Now, unfortunately, in my view, everybody but these front 2 rows does not have a fitness membership. Sit down, please. So you front 2 rows, you guys are the ones in North America, the only ones who have a fitness membership of some description, whether that be a community center, maybe it's a health club, maybe it's a martial arts club, maybe it's a tennis club, something like that. The downside of this is that only 10% of you are coming once a week or more. And so that means that only you 3 right here are the ones that I'm able to have a meaningful impact. Everybody but you 3, just sit down, please. So look at all of the people in this room, and the fitness industry is having a meaningful impact in the lives of just these 3 people. You sit down. So for me, this was a shattering statistic. It basically took me right to my knees, because I viewed myself as this person who was able, even when I was just training with individual clients, I was having this impact. And I imagined as my reach grew that I could have this impact across broader and broader audiences. I felt like I could impact the world. And all of a sudden, I'm faced with a statistic that I can affect those 3 people in the area that has the most penetration anywhere in the world, and that's my impact. And it crushed me, because I see what fitness can do, what I've seen it do, what I know it can do, what research proves it can do is far greater reaching than that. I know I can improve mental function. I know that I can help stave off disease, prevent disease. I know that physical exercise can bring people more functionality, which means that they can enjoy life at a higher level for longer and longer. And when you think about quality of life, I truly believe that it boils down to 2 big things. It's our ability to use this, our mind, our ability to use this, our body. And the moment we lose functionality in either of those 2 things is the moment that our quality of life starts to go down to some extent, the moment we can't engage at an optimal level. And that's what I'm all about. And my industry, the one that's perfectly poised to do it, is failing completely. And I'm a leader in it. I needed to try and understand that. So first of all, I started to think, maybe people just don't need it. Maybe that's it. Well, I want to give you some statistics. And maybe you might think otherwise. 1/3 of the world's population is overweight or obese. Greater reach of that, and this is interesting, this was a staggering statistic to me, more people die globally of obesity and the complications thereof than they do of famine. More people die as a result of obesity than they do of famine. And it's not getting any better. By the year 2030, 86% of Americans will be overweight or obese. 50% of them will be in the obese category. And it reaches not just to adults. 1/3 of our population, of our youth population, is overweight or obese. The entry age to type 2 diabetes is now 4 years old. My industry can help this. There's a 9/11 event every single week in the US. 5,000 people die every single week as a result of lifestyle-based disease, largely preventable by diet and exercise, and nobody knows about it. Can you imagine if there was a 9/11 event every week? What kind of attention, what kind of resources would go into it? It's staggering, but there is. So maybe, obviously, people need it. Maybe they just don't want it. Maybe they just don't care. Well, as I was coming home from San Francisco last night, I stopped in a magazine store and I picked up some magazines. You've all seen magazines like this. Men's Fitness, readership of about 600,000 people. Not a lot, but there's dozens of these magazines targeted both at males and females. And look at the headlines. Not with no surprise. Well, the secret sex spot, that's different. But fast abs, right? The no-fail belly plan. Back in shape in 7 days, right? Perfect. Bullshit, but perfect. The Ladies' Home Journal. This is not a fitness magazine. This is about fashion and parenting and beauty. How to look sexy at 30, 40, and 50 years old. This is how they want people. One of the biggest magazines in the world. 3.25 million distribution. And the big one, People Magazine. One of the biggest distributions as well. And look right here. What does everyone want to know? how Kelly Kardashian lost 43 pounds. If these kinds of magazines with those kinds of readerships are using those sorts of headlines to get people to buy their magazines, then I think people really do want what the fitness industry has to bring. So why is it failing? Well, I need to ask you a question. First of all, what are the top 3 physical passions? What are your top 3 physical passions? If you had to write them down, what would they be if you had the whole day to do anything you wanted to do? And sex counts, by the way. Okay? I'm going to leave that with you for a second. Now imagine we walk into a gym together. What do we see? What's there? Cardio machines. Machines, tons of machines. Machines for every conceivable body part. Cardiovascular machines. I want you to think, how many of you wrote down or thought in your mind as one of your top 3 physical passions? Strength and conditioning or stationary cardiovascular exercise. Anybody? Show of hands. Anybody? Now, there's maybe a couple of you in here who are afraid to put up your hand, but really, hardly anybody. And this is the product that the fitness industry is bringing to market to change the world? It's a complete miss. We need to change our spaces, and we need to map to people's passions, and we're not. And it's a huge problem, and no one's admitting it. The other big thing I want to talk about is this idea of integrating play. And to do that, I want to tell you a little story. Recently, I went on a walk with a friend of mine, and my friend has got a golden retriever. Anybody have a golden retriever? You know what I'm talking about then. This story is going to sound familiar. We got out of the car, we opened the door, and the dog burst out of the back of the door. Right? Ran out into the dog park, ran back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, which is its attempt to try and get you there faster. And when we got into the middle of the field, my friend produced a tennis ball. And the dog acted like it couldn't believe there was a tennis ball on the walk. Oh my God, there's a tennis ball! Right? And my friend gave it to me like, and you want to throw it? And of course I want to throw it. As soon as I even made a motion, the dog was like, it assumed the ready, international ready position. Doesn't matter what kind of animal you are. This means you're ready to go anywhere fast. And I threw the ball as hard as I could, as far as I could, and what did the dog do? Like Usain Bolt, took off like a shot at top speed. This dog could not have run any faster if I slingshot it out of there. It ran so fast, it ran over the ball, past the ball, right? Turned around the corner, come back, scoop up the ball like a major league shortstop, and ran back to me, boom, dropped the ball and looked at me like, throw it in. How many times do you think it would have done that? All until my arm was injured permanently, torn labrum, right? It would have kept doing it. At what intensity? 100%. Was it aware of its exercise level? No, because it was lost in play. How many people have a Siberian Husky? If I throw in the ball to a Siberian Husky, what would have happened, sir? He would have gone, that was stupid, you go get it, right? Because they express their play differently. And so do people. People express their play differently too, and we need to meet people where they are. And if we are able to do that, hide, play, gamify fitness and training, all of a sudden, people don't know that they're exercising. People are just having fun. We get past the fear of exercise. We get past all of the stigma around exercise. If I can't do it, I don't want to do it. We increase adherence and we start to make a meaningful impact in people's lives. I want to leave you with one story. I used to coach a lot of triathletes, had this big triathlon group, and we'd often meet. We train all winter long because Alberta sucks to train as a triathlete. It's not a good place. Minus 20 degrees at the base of some godforsaken hill, right? All huddling, shivering, and I'd give them the frame up of the workout. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to run up this hill as fast as we possibly can. It's going to take about 5 minutes. At the top, you are going to feel like you're going to die, but you won't. It'll be okay. And at the top, when you like this, and you can jog easily down while you recover, and then we're going to do that 8 times. Any questions? And from the expression on some of your faces, I can tell I've just described your own personal hell, right there, up and down. But I want you to think about what happens when you take your kids tobogganing. You get to the hill, you open the car. They burst out of the door, much like that golden retriever I talked about a second ago. You get to the base of the hill, you give them their sled, and what do? Sprint to the top of the hill as fast as they possibly can, slipping and sliding and clawing, because the hill's steeper. They get to the top, they organize themselves, get into the toboggan, and then what? Down. What do they do? What do they say on the way down? All the way down, right? And when they get to the bottom, what happens? They collect themselves first, and then they sprint again to the top of the hill. Are they thinking about the effort? No. They're going to do that as many times as they can because they know that you've probably only got, as a parent, maybe 20 minutes in you, right, of shivering there. Good job, it looks good, right? The point is, what does the body know? Nothing. It knows exactly the same as hill repeats as far as the body's concerned. That's all it knows. So I want to leave you with this, just one thought, and that is, when you go out and engage in your own fitness, when you try and inspire the people around you, is your emphasis on the up, or is your emphasis on the down? Because if it's on the down, it's going to make all the difference. Thank you very much.